Hi folks, I'm Matt and welcome to My Expanding Universe, a show where I go through the entire EU in chronological order as best I know how. Now folks, today I want to talk about a few short stories, one that I've been wanting to talk about for a long time. I just didn't know where to put it because a lot of timelines really don't show the short story. Not that it's that important, but it's written by Rob Valois and it is called Outfoxed. Now Outfoxed is starring Clone Commander Fox as he tries to stop a kidnapping of a senator. Now this came out on Target.com and is still fairly easy to get even today. I think if you just type in, Star Wars Outfox, you can download it right then and there. It is a very short story, not much, but because it came out from Target.com, I was super intrigued by this. I was like, wait a minute, is Target.com coming out with their own EU fiction? I got super excited because I didn't even know when it came out. I found out about a few months probably later after the fact, and so I downloaded it, I read it, I was like, oh my gosh, when is more stuff coming out? And I would check Target.com all the time to see, and little did I know that that was it. That was all they had. That may have been all that their contract allowed, but how cool would it have been to have an extra source of EU stuff coming out from Target.com of all places? Now pretty much that's all the story is my summary. Now should you get this? Sure, go ahead. It's easy to get. It's only like just a few pages. But is it any good? Does it connect to anything else within the story, much less the Clone Wars? No, it does not. It's just a simple one-off story. So it's up to you whether you want to read it or not. Now the next book that you should read, and I hate to do this to you folks, it may be a little bit harder to get. It is called Tales from the Clone Wars. It was just basically a conglomerate of all of the Dark Horse webcomic series from the Clone Wars TV show, at least for the first couple of seasons. This was kind of a surprise to me that this even got printed out. It was at Celebration 5. Supposedly, they printed out only 500 issues. Now, I cannot find where I'd verified that. It was off of a forum. Someone at Celebration had said that, but I don't know literally where I could find 500 of them. I mean, it makes sense it was short printed since it was given away at Celebration 5, I think it was. I have to figure that out. But anyway, I was able to get one, and I remember the exact day I got one. It was November 1st, 2012, the day after Disney had bought Star Wars. This is one of the first books I went ahead and bought. And I was like, well, I'll get that little stuff. I'll get all these little bitty stories, webcomics, children's books. I'll get those someday along the road. I wasn't really interested in collecting every little bit yet. I mean, sure, if I saw it, I'd pick it up, but I was like, I'm not going to really do a hard search for it. Until Disney bought Star Wars, I went, oh my gosh, this stuff's going to be snapped up quick. So I started going on immediately, and one of the first things I bought was this Tales of the Clone Wars trade. I'd already had each individual web strip printed out. I didn't know that they did a trade until that time. I was like, they made a trade of all these? That's awesome. It's by Dark Horse. What's going on? And then I found the story in some of the one of the forums online, the great StarWars.com forums that are sadly no longer around. So anyway, I actually got to talk this joker down from his high price. I don't know how much they are worth now. I don't see them that much, but again, I don't really look for this stuff anymore. So you may find it at a decent deal. What's a decent deal? I don't know. I know I talked my guy down. It's like, look, Disney bought the stuff. They're not even going to care about this. You may as well give it to me for cheaper. And he took it off his store and then posted it back up on eBay at the lower price that I wanted it for, and I bought it from him. Now, is it any good? Well, I can't really say it is. It's good for the purpose of having them all collected in one trade. I really love that. The webcomics, as you recall, folks, they were free on StarWars.com. So it wasn't that, they had to be quality. I'm not saying they were bad. They were okay, but they weren't anything outstanding or stellar. In fact, I'm not going to go over any of the, 20 short stories that were in there because there's really no point. But for a collection purpose, that was really cool. And I was really hoping Dark Horse would make more webcomic trades after that. But of course, that's when the sale went down. That's when, Dark Horse was probably knowing that they weren't going to keep the rights, was going to revert back to Marvel. I even knew that. I say, oh, they're going to switch it back to Marvel because they own Marvel. And but I was really hoping. I would petition Dark Horse saying, hey, I love the Tales from the Clone Wars. Why don't we do, the other webcomics too and put them as a trade, please, please, please. And I got the polite response back saying, Oh, thank you for your interest in Tales of the Clone Wars. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. We'd like to do more. Of course, we'd also like to keep the rights to Star Wars. Yeah, they didn't say that, but you know, it was, yeah, thanks, but not at this point. Now, I still held out hope that they were going to do it because, as you know, folks, they were printing out some great stuff toward the end of their run, meaning reprints like Wild Space 1 and 2. They also printed the Droids Ewoks comic books from the 80s, which I was really happy about. So they were printing a lot of hard-to-find comic books back then, and I was like, maybe, just maybe, before they switch the rights over, they'll bring out a trade of the webcomics. They never did, and I had to go ahead and just make my own trade paperback of all the webcomics. Not for sale, just for personal purposes here. But I had to do that because I wanted it all in a nice book. Now, I still got about 3 binders of unprinted material, you know, I mean unpublished material, just in print in my binders there. But I really wish they'd have done this. Now, they couldn't. Maybe they just didn't have the time. Maybe they didn't have permission. I don't know. Now, would Marvel Comics ever reprint a lot of these web strips? You know, like, Matt, I want Tales of the Clone Wars. I love the Clone Wars. I want to hear the tales of it. I mean, yeah, I'm sure it's online. It may cost a pretty penny. It may not. It may not be worth anything. Like I said, I haven't checked as of this video. I do not know how much it's worth. But I will tell you this, I do not think that Marvel is going to reprint anything like that. They have so many legend stories that I agree should be reprinted before they get to the nitty-gritty. I don't think anything like Wild Space will ever be printed again. I mean, it was a great idea by Dark Horse, especially these Tales of Clone Wars. I love having it. For the longest, it was my most treasured possession in my collection, like on stuff hard to find and hard to get. In fact, it's still up there in the top 5 if I was to do a top 5 about it. Maybe that's for another video. All right, folks, that's all the time I have for today. I have got to get off this mountain. I will see you next time.